Hey guys, it's Christine and Zach from The Picked Pair.
What's going on? So we just got back from a 17-day trip in Spain with our now 2-year-old and 4-year-old. First thing we found is get your euros before you go to Spain. And so I ended up taking out a bunch of cash US dollars at the airport before we left, thinking, oh, I'll just change it there, we'll go to a bank, swap it over. But it was actually really hard to find a bank that would actually change US dollars for euros.
Well, at the exchange rate that you wanted.
Or even a lot of banks didn't even do it. But yeah, and then if you did find one, like the hotels would do it, or some banks did, some of them wanted to charge a fee and still use like a different exchange rate, which at the time we went, it was 91 cents for €1. But some of the hotels wanted to only give you 70 to 75 cents a euro. So you're basically losing, at every $100, you're losing 20 bucks. So instead, what we ended up doing is I just kept the cash that we had, didn't really exchange any of that, but used the ATM. And so the ATMs there give you, your bank typically would give you a true exchange rate, at least a better one. So I think at the one ATM I ended up getting 85 cents per euro, which is closer to 91 than 70. What we ended up really doing is using a credit card almost everywhere. So pretty much everywhere we went in Spain, pretty much everywhere took a credit card. And there you just want to make sure that your credit card doesn't have any foreign transaction fees, and they gave me the exact current exchange rate, which was nice. And also, I guess while we're talking about it, the tip would be to call your credit card ahead of time and make sure that they know you're traveling abroad so they don't flag it as fraud.
Our tip number 2 is that eating times are really different there. Coming from America, I think this is more of a European thing that everybody kind of falls into these eating times that are normal to them. And having children, I'm like, oh, that, it won't be a problem that our kids are eating late. But realistically, that we were always kind of like off the whole time.
Especially the first week.
We've kind of decided on our experience that it was like 8 to 10 was around your breakfast time, which is very normal, right? But then lunch was like more like 1 to 3, and then dinner was the hardest because it's not that there aren't places that aren't open in between, it's just that most kitchens are closed.
So you look up online and you find a restaurant, oh, this place is open. And you get all the way over there and they're like, oh yeah, we're open, you want a drink? Maybe some olives, but there's no food.
Yeah, exactly. So like the restaurants for dinner would be more like their kitchen's open at 8 and then stay open until like midnight. And so that was so difficult because if we wanted to feed the kids ahead of time, we were like, wow, we could feed them bread and meat and cheese, but they got really tired of that. So we decided that actually going to the grocery store, because we were
stacked up on some snacks and stuff.
When we were staying at Airbnbs was like the best thing ever because we could get fruit and a bunch of things and just carry stuff with us.
Number 3 would be your phone. And so a lot of phone companies these days have the travel plans, right? And Verizon had, I think it's $10 a day for only the days you use it. And you get unlimited, I think it was unlimited calling and texting. And then you get like half a gigabyte of high-speed data. So other option with the phone, which we were going to do for her, but we ended up not needing to, is if you have an unlocked phone, you can go and get a local SIM card. And so I think Vodafone, I think that's how you pronounce it, I'm not sure, or Movistar was another one. There's a few, I think there's 2 or 3 major internet or cell phone carriers there in Spain. And so you go, I think it was anywhere from $15 to $30. You get a SIM card and it's for a month. You get a certain number of minutes, text, and or data. And actually it was a really good deal if you did it, and you get a local Spain number. With her phone, I don't think it was unlocked, so we weren't able to do that. But that's a great option if you do have an unlocked phone.
Yeah. Number 4 is charger. Your charger is going to look different. I'm sure if you traveled to Europe already, then you already know this, but...
So that's ours in the United States, which is like a type A or B. In Spain, they use a type F, which is just like 2 long prongs, which means you can't just take your normal...
The engineer, oh my gosh. Just
so simple.
Get a charger.
No, don't just get a charger, because it's a completely different voltage. So if you brought, say, a straightener or a curler or curling iron or whatever it is, any type of device that needs electricity, and you were to just buy this device here, there's 2 types. This is just a converter to convert type F to type A. If you were to just plug in something that wasn't rated for 220 or 230 voltage, you would blow up.
Blow up? Blow up.
But not literally blow up, but you would short out and ruin the device you're plugging in. And so it's important that you make sure you have the dual voltage. So like the most iPhone chargers do, or curling iron or whatever you call the thing, straightener, excuse me. The other option is to buy a basically a transformer. It's a converter, so it will convert it from the 230 down to 110. So just look at your device, make sure that you have the proper voltage on your device, and then get one of these things.
Yep. And tip number 5 is to get Google Translate. We found this later in our trip. I wish we had it in the beginning, but it was fine. We had my dad there with us, and he spoke Spanish, and so he was able to translate a lot. The Spanish is different there.
Yeah, I feel like we go to Mexico often and are
We
able
know
to
exactly.
get by and have a
Yeah.
decent conversation. Where I
Yeah.
feel like we both struggled in Spain.
We did, and so it was good for even my dad. He was like, wow, there's some words I don't know what they're saying. So anyways, having Google Translate was really nice because it's an app that you can get on your phone, and you're able to have your phone look at writing, and it will decipher and change it all to English so you can read stuff if they don't have a menu that's in English.
So you literally just, it uses your camera, you hold it over, and in place of the Spanish words on that picture, sign, menu, it writes over it in English. So it was really cool. With that, you can download the language ahead of time, so that way it's there if you don't have service.
Number 6 is tipping. So you would think in America, obviously we tip well, and we're normally like 15, 20% depending on how everybody served us. Here, tipping is not big. I mean, obviously I think it's welcomed, but we saw videos on that ahead of time too, and it is true. Like we would look at other people's tables and they would be leaving
Like a whole meal and they leave a couple of coins.
Yeah.
Which are like, basically, it seemed like most people took whatever, let's say the bill came to 50, 49 euros or 49 and something. They just round up to the closest euro and that's what they leave. We didn't totally feel comfortable with that, so we'd always leave, leave some tip, depending on what it was.
I felt like if it was
like
up to me.
5%.
No, if it was up to me, I always left 3 euros. Doesn't
least,
matter because
yeah.
I didn't know. I was just like 3 to 5 euros, and they're in the coins too, not necessarily the dollar thing. So I was just like, I don't know. And some people looked at us like we're crazy, and some people were just like, whatever. Yeah, I don't even know. So tipping isn't a big thing.
We tipped the house cleaner at our hotel.
You would have swore we bought her a trip to Bali.
Yeah, that was only 30 euros or something like that, and
Yeah.
she literally started crying.
Yeah, so it isn't, it isn't a big thing. You're more than welcome, obviously, to tip as much as you want. But if you don't really have the money on you and you only have a couple euros, that's all you leave, and it's fine and it's accepted.
Tip number 7, transportation. So with that, we kind of did a little bit of everything. We took, shuttles, we took taxis, we took buses, we took trains, the high-speed rail. We rented a car for a little over a week.
We wanted to give the full experience so we can tell you what to do or what not to
And
do.
so it really depends on where you're planning on going and wanting to see, and then, how you planning on getting around. So when we were in Madrid and we just used the city bus. I don't think we used taxi.
We
And
walked
walking.
everywhere.
A lot of the cities are very
We took a
walkable.
subway. We went down.
From the
subway in
airport. Well, we
Madrid.
took the subway from the airport to the hotel.
Right.
And a lot of the big cities are very walkable. It seems like people in Spain walk a lot.
They do.
And so we did that, and then we ended up getting, when you're taking the local transportation, a lot of the cities actually you can buy a single use, or they do it like called the T10 or like a card, basically a tourist card where you get 10 rides, whether it be metro or bus, and it was basically half the price or less, and you just swipe your card when you get on. And so we did that, and that worked out really well. You don't want a car in the big cities. Like if you had a car in Madrid, you'd probably be lost trying to spend crazy money for parking, figure out where to park. The streets are just so small and old.
The driving
confusing.
is different and the lights are different, so it just would be stressful.
And so we ended up renting a car once we left, basically leaving Valencia. So in Madrid, Cuenca, and Valencia, we didn't have a car. As we left there, we picked up a car for a week, and actually the cars there are pretty cool. They are different brands than I've ever heard of, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they actually had it's just a rental car, so it's not like a high model, but like the passenger seat had like a footrest that came up. It had massagers in the seat, and this is just like a basic car.
Yeah. Number 8 is not really a tip, but it's just an observation. When we were going and trying to book hotels or Airbnbs, we noticed that the beds are always smaller. So you just expect that twins are pushed together to
Not even
make.
twins, singles.
Is that smaller than it?
Yeah.
Oh, the biggest you're gonna find is it a queen or was it a full? I don't know. It felt like a
Whatever
queen.
two singles pushed
No,
together.
but I'm saying without the crack was our biggest.
Oh, I think it was
bed.
a queen.
Yeah, so we did have a queen. I felt like
And one Airbnb.
in the Airbnbs that were more modern, I think that the people paid attention to that and would get queen beds. But other than that, in a lot of the hotels, they were smaller.
And the other thing I was surprised with regarding beds for the kids is they call them baby cot, and so
Instead of a crib, but
instead
it's
of a crib, it's basically it's like a pack and play.
Yeah, but yeah.
And so, but basically every single we stayed at with 5 different places between hotels and Airbnbs. Every single place we stayed at, I just called ahead of time before we went or shot them an email, and every single one of them had a baby cot in the room, no cost.
Right, which is the other thing that isn't part of the tips, but it's very kid-friendly in Spain in general. And all the cities that we went to, they always had accommodations for the kids. And it seems very common that they will put a lot of beds in one room.
Number 9, which Christine really struggled with a little bit more, was the smoking. So smoking was huge, actually. You know, a lot of people smoke in the United States, but it seemed like everywhere you went, everybody was smoking. One time
We're not talking about weed. We're talking about
just smoking.
cigarettes. Like
E-cigarettes, regular cigarettes, these other fancy things look like they put a regular cigarette in a e-cigarette. I don't even know what it was.
When I'm saying people smoke, like people smoke. I don't notice it that much, but I just noticed it there. Every place we were eating outside, it was constant smoking, and I didn't really like it for the kids so much, so I would end up saying like, can we sit inside? So that was just something that no one talks about because it's probably so normal just in Spain, Europe, I don't know, in general. And if you're a smoker, then you're gonna love it there. You're probably gonna wanna move there because everybody smokes everywhere. And there's tobacco shops on like every corner. And our final thing, again, not a tip, but something that you can expect there is that there are bidets in probably all of your Airbnbs or your hotels. Which is really cool, and I think that America should definitely have bidets. But if you have little kids like I do, my 2-year-old first went straight to the bidet thinking it was her own personal sink. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do training and teaching them. They don't go by.
So it was like the first few days was just like locking them out of the bathroom, make sure they knew not to play with it, because that is gross. So there's a ton of more stuff. Leave some comments, tips, anything you have if you travel to Spain down below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you, and if you have any questions about our trip, we'd love to, just contribute with you a little more down there as well.
Yeah. Oh, also, and see our other videos on our experience in Madrid, on Cuenca, Valencia, and Barcelona, and maybe we'll make one in Silao as well.
Laos, Tarragona.
Yeah. So we made other videos as well for you to go and look. So if you're traveling straight to those cities, you know exactly what to see and do in those cities.
Very good.
All right. See you soon.
Peace.